The void of space was silent, save for the faint hum of alien engines gliding past Jupiter's orbit. The warships, sleek and angular, reflected distant starlight like shards of obsidian. Their commanders observed Earth through augmented reality scopes, seeing nothing but a small, water-covered world brimming with fragile life forms. Intelligence reports painted humans as disorganized, primitive, and incapable of coordinated defense. They believed victory would be instantaneous. On Earth, life continued in blissful ignorance. Morning broke over sprawling cities, where traffic lights flickered on, school buses rumbled along streets, and office workers hurried into glass towers. Across oceans, farmers tended crops, unaware that thousands of kilometers above them, an armada prepared to descend. Yet subtle anomalies hinted that something was amiss. Satellites blinked in and out of communication, and atmospheric sensors detected unusual energy fluctuations. Scientists across the globe stared at their monitors, puzzled. It's probably a solar storm, one theorized. But in the quiet corners of research facilities, others whispered that something far stranger was approaching. In New York, Dr. Elena Cruz, an astrophysicist working at a top-secret satellite monitoring station, noticed patterns in the readings that didn't match any natural phenomenon. "These aren't solar flares," she muttered to her colleague, tapping rapidly at the console. "They're too coordinated, too deliberate. Someone or something is out there." Meanwhile, in rural China, a farmer looked up as a streak of light traced across the sky. He dismissed it as a shooting star, not knowing it was the tip of an alien probe scanning the planet for weaknesses. The aliens' first movements were subtle. Recon drones slipped silently into Earth's orbit, transmitting vast quantities of data back to the command fleet. Images of cities, power grids, and military installations were cataloged, studied, and analyzed. The invaders anticipated minimal resistance, perhaps a few scattered military satellites or defensive missiles, but certainly nothing resembling a coordinated counterattack. They expected to strike swiftly and decisively. But Earth had secrets of its own. Humanity had spent decades preparing for the possibility of extraterrestrial threats, even if most people dismissed such notions as science fiction. Early warning satellites, underground bunkers, and a decentralized military infrastructure ensured that while an alien attack would be shocking, it would not go unanswered. Military officers watched their screens in disbelief as unidentified objects approached, but training and instinct kicked in immediately. Alerts blared, commands were issued, and emergency protocols began activating. And yet, the world outside continued largely unaware. Children played in parks, commuters poured into subways, and cities thrummed with normalcy. The quiet resilience of humanity, the ability to adapt, improvise, and survive, was invisible to the alien observers. They measured Earth's power purely in terms of technology and numbers, failing to see the indomitable spirit beneath the surface. That oversight would soon prove fatal. As the alien fleet drew closer, the first beams of light from their weapons began to shimmer against the upper atmosphere. Earth was about to awaken, not as a helpless planet, but as a force the invaders had gravely underestimated. The morning sky above Earth erupted without warning. Alien warships, massive and dark, descended from orbit, their hulls glinting ominously as they pierced the atmosphere. Cities across continents trembled under shockwaves from orbital strikes, communications satellites burned in streaks of light, and power grids failed one by one. Panic rippled through populations as sirens screamed, traffic froze, and the world realized that the warnings were real. But even as chaos spread, humans adapted with astonishing speed. Emergency protocols that had long existed in theory became practical lifelines. Air traffic controllers rerouted planes mid-flight, hospitals switched to backup generators, and civilians moved instinctively to safety. In Tokyo, subway tunnels filled with citizens who were guided by local volunteers to shelters. In Nairobi, engineers rerouted power to maintain hospitals and water treatment plants. Small acts of organization multiplied into a network of resilience that confounded alien calculations. The aliens expected instant submission, but Earth had not been built for surrender. On the ground, human soldiers executed strategies that relied not on sheer firepower, but on ingenuity. Anti-air systems, improvised from older military tech, targeted alien drones with precision. Fighter jets, piloted by humans trained in unpredictable maneuvers, launched hit-and-run attacks that left alien command unsure how to respond. Each time an alien drone fell, a new human tactic emerged, exploiting weaknesses the invaders had never considered. Meanwhile, in orbit, the few satellites that remained operational relayed real-time intelligence to global defense networks. Scientists and engineers in control rooms improvised constantly, using captured alien drone signals to anticipate strikes. In Washington, D.C., General Marcus Tan stood before a digital map of the globe, directing forces with a calm authority that belied the destruction outside. "We don't fight like they expect. We fight smarter, faster, and together. They've never faced this before." The aliens' initial strikes faltered. High-tech weapons meant to incinerate entire city blocks were neutralized by EMP bursts created from human ingenuity. Drone swarms were drawn into traps and destroyed. Attempts to disable key military installations failed because humans had dispersed their command centers underground and across multiple continents. What should have been a swift victory was turning into a prolonged, frustrating engagement. Even civilians contributed to the resistance. Engineers modified vehicles into mobile defensive platforms. Hackers infiltrated alien communication systems, jamming guidance signals and redirecting weapons. Ordinary people, armed with courage and creativity, became part of the fight, proving to the invaders that defeating humans was far more complex than they had anticipated. The nightfall, the alien paused their assault to reassess. The humans were resilient, adaptable, and surprisingly coordinated. The invaders had expected fear and surrender, but what they saw instead was ingenuity and determination. From space, the flickering lights of human cities, some damaged, some resilient, reflected a planet that would not bow easily. For the first time, the alien commanders hesitated. They had misjudged the inhabitants of Earth. A single, unified conclusion spread among their fleet. This planet is not what we expected, and by underestimating it, we may have made our gravest mistake. The night sky over Earth was a battlefield lit by streaks of laser fire and the explosions of alien drones. Humanity was no longer merely defending itself, it had begun to strike back. From hidden bases, small bands of elite pilots and engineers launched daring raids on alien ships, using guerrilla tactics that no conventional strategy could predict. They did not attack blindly. Every movement was calculated, every strike precise, exploiting weaknesses the aliens had never imagined. In the skies above London, a squadron of fighter jets weaved through the wreckage of destroyed drones. Captain Leila Torres guided her team with the instinct of someone who had trained for impossibilities. "Split and flank," she barked over the comms. Missiles streaked past alien hulls, not to destroy them outright, but to disable key systems, navigation, communications, energy conduits. The aliens, used to overwhelming firepower, struggled to adapt to this form of unpredictable resistance. Below, on the streets of Paris, engineers worked feverishly to modify civilian vehicles into mobile weapons platforms. Trucks were fitted with high-energy pulse cannons, salvaged from destroyed drones, while ordinary cars became decoys, luring alien reconnaissance units into ambushes. Civilians, far from passive observers, contributed by hacking alien signals and feeding human forces critical intelligence.
The streets themselves became a chessboard, each move carefully planned, yet appearing chaotic to the invaders. Even the oceans became part of the battle. Human submarines equipped with modified sonar-based weapons intercepted alien drones attempting to survey underwater cities. The aliens had assumed Earth's water would be a barrier, a weakness, but humans used it as a shield and a trap. Every miscalculation, every assumption was turned against the invaders. In the skies, scientists and engineers worked around the clock, learning from every skirmish. Captured alien drones were dismantled and repurposed, feeding a growing arsenal of hybrid technology. Some ships were retrofitted as decoys to confuse alien targeting systems, while others carried EMP pulses capable of temporarily crippling entire sections of the alien fleet. Humanity's ingenuity proved to be as formidable a weapon as any laser or missile. Meanwhile, alien commanders grew frustrated. Their meticulously planned assault strategies faltered against humans who refused to conform to expectations. One squadron lost an entire command ship, not because of superior firepower, but because human pilots anticipated a standard attack pattern and exploited it with surgical precision. The realization began to dawn. Earth was not defenseless, and these humans were far more resourceful than intelligence reports had indicated. Back on the ground, leaders from multiple nations coordinated via improvised secure networks. Orders flowed quickly, blending military discipline with civilian innovation. Small victories inspired larger ones. Each successful counterstrike emboldened humans further, turning fear into determination. Even amidst the chaos, one fact became undeniable. The humans of Earth would not surrender, would not yield, and would fight using every tool, tactic, and ounce of cleverness they possessed. By the end of the day, the alien fleet had suffered losses far beyond what they expected. Ships were disabled, drones destroyed, and confidence shaken. From above, Earth looked defiant, alive with movement, ingenuity, and unyielding determination. The first glimmer of the humans' true strength had revealed itself, and for the aliens, it was a revelation that came too late. They had underestimated the planet they sought to conquer, and now they faced a resistance far more formidable than any of them could have imagined.
The first week of the invasion had taught humanity a vital lesson. Unity was strength. Borders, political rivalries, and decades of mistrust faded in the face of a threat that sought to erase all life on Earth. From sprawling megacities to remote villages, humans organized themselves into coordinated networks of defense, intelligence, and resistance. Communication channels, patched together from old satellites, civilian networks, and improvised relays, linked soldiers, engineers, and volunteers across continents. In Geneva, a hastily convened global council directed the response. Military generals, scientists, and diplomats worked side by side, mapping alien movements, predicting attack vectors, and allocating resources where they were needed most. "We fight as one planet," declared Admiral Li Wei during a live broadcast. "No nation alone can withstand them, but together we are unstoppable." His words were not empty rhetoric. They were a rallying cry that spread across the globe, inspiring civilians and soldiers alike to take part in the defense effort. Across the planet, human ingenuity transformed the battlefield. Skyscrapers were reinforced as command centers and defensive platforms. Streets became channels for mobile strike units, and rural landscapes were fortified with hidden bunkers and traps. Engineers modified conventional military hardware to interface with alien technology, creating hybrid weapons that even the most advanced invaders could not anticipate. Drone swarms, originally designed for reconnaissance, were reprogrammed to act as decoys, drawing enemy fire into traps while humans launched counterattacks. The aliens, confident in their overwhelming technology, assumed humanity would fracture under pressure. They miscalculated. Even as orbital strikes and bombardments devastated cities, humans adapted. Emergency response teams rerouted power grids, repaired communication lines, and restored essential services faster than the aliens could destroy them. Civilians became soldiers in all but name, taking up arms, guiding forces, and improvising weapons from whatever they could find. Each act of resistance fueled another, creating a momentum the aliens had not anticipated. In the skies above South America, elite human pilots executed daring raids against alien warships, weaving through orbital debris and anti-air turrets with precision. Small teams of engineers infiltrated alien drones, reverse engineering navigation systems mid-flight to redirect them into enemy formations. The aliens' losses mounted, their coordination faltering as they struggled to adapt to humans' unpredictable tactics. Meanwhile, underground bunkers across Europe and Asia became hubs of innovation. Scientists analyzed every fragment of alien technology they could recover, designing countermeasures that neutralized advanced weapons and even allowed humans to anticipate enemy movements. Ordinary citizens became critical cogs in the machinery of war, hacking networks, salvaging materials, and keeping supply lines open. The aliens expected to face fear and chaos. Instead, they found resilience, intelligence, and relentless adaptability. By the end of the fourth day, it was clear that the tide was shifting. The aliens' initial shock and overconfidence had been replaced with frustration and confusion. Humanity, once assumed to be disorganized and weak, had proven itself clever, resourceful, and united. The invaders began to realize that this planet was no ordinary target. Earth was alive with resistance, and the humans who inhabited it would not surrender. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. And somewhere in the command halls of the alien fleet, murmurs began to spread. Perhaps this was not going to be the easy conquest they had imagined.
The alien commanders were growing impatient. Days of sporadic victories had been replaced by mounting frustration as humans continuously adapted, countering strategies that should have been unstoppable. Ships meant to obliterate entire cities instead drifted in orbit, crippled by human-devised EMP pulses. Assault drones intended for precision strikes were lured into traps or commandeered mid-flight. Every calculated move by the invaders seemed to be anticipated, twisted, and turned against them. On the outskirts of Cairo, a squad of human engineers had set a trap that would become a textbook example of improvisation under pressure. Using captured alien drones as bait, they led an entire strike force into a canyon lined with electromagnetic pulse emitters, improvised from local power stations and modified tech scavenged from satellites. The result? Dozens of alien ships disabled in a single operation. Lieutenant Ahmed Farouk radioed in a single triumphant message. They're learning now. This planet doesn't surrender. Across the Pacific, in the skies over Tokyo, Captain Lila Torres executed another unpredictable maneuver. Alien bombers targeted what they assumed were defenseless urban areas, only to find them evacuated, reinforced, and armed with countermeasures. Lila's squad used the cityscape itself, skyscrapers, bridges, and waterways, as obstacles, forcing alien ships into narrow channels where human firepower could strike with devastating efficiency. The alien pilots, trained for precision and obedience, were unprepared for a foe that thought creatively and without fear. Even in orbit, humans were taking the fight to the invaders. A team of engineers aboard the ISS, equipped with salvaged alien tech, hacked into command signals to redirect a fleet of drones back toward the motherships. Explosions rippled across the alien armada as ships turned on one another. Confusion spread through the alien ranks, the first hint that their seemingly insurmountable technology could be outmatched by cunning, courage, and adaptability. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the civilian population was playing an unanticipated role in the battle. Hackers across continents exploited flaws in alien communications, turning their advanced AI against them. Farmers, construction workers, and ordinary citizens provided materials, intelligence, and traps, demonstrating that survival required the collective ingenuity of the entire species. For every alien plan, humanity had an answer, or 10. Alien intelligence officers convened urgently. They adapt too quickly. Every tactic we employ is mirrored, countered, or turned against us, one barked. The initial assumption,
that humans were weak, scattered, and predictable, had proven fatally flawed. Confidence had turned to doubt, doubt to fear. The Armada was powerful, yes, but Earth itself seemed to fight alongside its defenders. Across the globe, humans watched the sky with grim determination. Losses were mounting, but every setback had taught them new ways to fight. Strategy had become instinct, improvisation second nature, and the aliens, once confident in their superiority, were realizing a truth they had not accounted for. This planet was not a prize to be plundered. It was a force to be reckoned with. For the first time, the aliens hesitated. They had miscalculated humanity's most dangerous weapon. Not lasers, not ships, not drones, but their unbreakable spirit. And with that hesitation, humanity saw an opening, a glimpse of opportunity that would soon become the turning point in the war for Earth. The alien fleet, once confident and imposing, was now reeling. Every advance they made was met with a counter that was smarter, faster, and far more unpredictable than anything they had anticipated. Humanity was exploiting weaknesses the aliens had never imagined, turning their own technology against them. The tide of battle had shifted. Earth was no longer simply defending itself, it was dictating the terms of engagement. In orbit above the Atlantic, a daring team of human pilots executed a coordinated strike on a cluster of alien command ships. Using a combination of high-speed maneuvers and modified alien drones, they disabled the fleet's communication network in a matter of minutes. Without coordination, the alien vessels faltered, drifting helplessly as human fighters picked them off one by one. Captain Leela Torres, weaving her jet through the chaos, radioed back, "They're lost. They thought they could control the sky, but the sky belongs to us now." On the ground, engineers in London and Berlin worked in tandem to create hybrid energy weapons, merging human ingenuity with alien propulsion systems. These weapons were small but devastatingly precise, capable of taking down heavily shielded ships with minimal effort. Civilians assisted by providing raw materials and expertise, demonstrating that every human, soldier or not, had a role to play. Human cities were no longer passive targets. They had become fortresses, laboratories, and battle stations all at once. In the Pacific, submarines armed with sonic and electromagnetic devices disrupted alien ship formations attempting to flank coastal cities. Waves of enemy vessels collided and capsized, their AI-driven coordination failing against the adaptive strategies of human forces. The aliens had superior numbers and technology, but humans had something far more elusive: creativity, resilience, and an instinctive ability to exploit every opportunity. Even morale became a weapon. Each victory, no matter how small, was broadcast globally. Humans saw that their ingenuity was forcing the invaders to retreat, and the aliens saw a species unafraid, unbroken, and endlessly adaptable. In alien ranks, confusion turned into fear, pride turned into hesitation. Orders were ignored, commands delayed, and mistakes multiplied. Human lemmings had learned the rhythm of the invaders' tactics, and now they danced to it, luring ships into traps, ambushing fleets, and striking decisively at critical points. By the end of the 6th day, it was undeniable that humanity had seized the initiative. The aliens, once the hunters, were now reacting to a force they could not predict. Earth itself had become a weapon in the hands of its defenders. Every mountain, river, and urban landscape leveraged to maximum effect. Humans had proven that adaptability, ingenuity, and courage could overcome technology that seemed insurmountable. From space, Earth glowed not as a fragile blue dot, but as a beacon of defiance. The invaders now faced a planet that refused to surrender, a species that refused to yield, and a civilization that would stop at nothing to defend its home.
The alien fleet, battered and disoriented, regrouped in orbit above the Pacific, hoping to launch a decisive strike against the human forces they still believed might be overwhelmed. But Earth's defenders had learned too much. For every predictable maneuver, there was a counter. For every weapon deployed, there was a trap. Humanity no longer reacted, they dictated the battle, controlling the skies, the seas, and even the void of orbit itself. Captain Lila Torres led a squadron of elite pilots through a gauntlet of debris and laser fire, weaving between damaged alien ships and orbital hazards. Their target, the alien command vessel, coordinating the fleet's movements. Using a combination of modified human jets and scavenged alien drones, they infiltrated the enemy formation with precision. Torres's team struck at critical systems, navigation, communications, and shields, turning what had once been an impenetrable vessel into a sitting target. The alien commanders were caught off guard, realizing too late that humans' defenders had studied their strategies and learned their weaknesses. On the ground, humans were no less formidable. Cities became fortified strongholds, and key locations were rigged with hybrid weapons capable of striking at both air and space targets. Underground tunnels allowed strike teams to move undetected, ambushing alien forces where they least expected it. Ordinary citizens played crucial roles, providing intelligence, repairing defenses, and guiding forces through complex urban terrain. Each successful engagement fueled a growing confidence that humanity could defeat even the most advanced invaders. In the Arctic, a coalition of human engineers and scientists deployed a daring plan. They used a combination of EMP generators, repurposed alien drones, and satellite-guided precision strikes to disable an entire wing of the alien fleet. Ships lost power mid-battle, spinning helplessly as human fighters picked them off. The aliens' superior numbers meant nothing against humans who could improvise, coordinate across continents, and exploit every vulnerability. Meanwhile, in orbit above Europe, hybrid drones unleashed a synchronized attack on the remaining alien warships. Each drone, small but highly maneuverable, targeted shields and propulsion systems, leaving the alien vessels crippled. The fleet, once confident and imposing, now struggled to maintain formation. Panic spread among the alien ranks as ships collided, misfired, and fell under coordinated human attacks. As the day wore on, humans executed the final phase of their plan, a concentrated multi-pronged strike against the alien command center. In orbit and on Earth, every weapon, every pilot, every engineer, and every soldier worked in harmony. The aliens, once the hunters, now found themselves cornered, reacting desperately to an enemy that had mastered the art of unpredictability. By nightfall, the alien armada was shattered. Ships were disabled, command structures destroyed, and morale utterly broken. Humans had proven that ingenuity, adaptability, and courage could triumph over technology that seemed unbeatable. Across the globe, people watched the skies and celebrated, not merely with relief, but with the pride of a species that had faced annihilation and emerged victorious. From the wreckage of space, the aliens began a reluctant retreat. Their arrogance and overconfidence had been their undoing. Earth stood united, scarred but unbowed, its defenders wiser and stronger than ever before. The planet had sent a clear message. Humanity was not to be underestimated, and for the first time, the galaxy would truly take notice.
The alien fleet fled in disarray, retreating into the void from which it had come. Ships limped back toward deep space, engines damaged, systems malfunctioning, and morale shattered. Their commanders, once arrogant and confident, were now humbled by a species they had dismissed as insignificant. Earth had fought back, not with sheer technological superiority, but with ingenuity, courage, and relentless adaptability. Across the globe, humans emerged from shelters, bunkers, and command centers to witness the aftermath. Cities were scarred by battle, but alive. Fires burned in some districts, while others had been shielded or protected by clever improvisation. Streets were littered with debris, yet people celebrated, not merely in relief, but in triumph. They had faced annihilation and proved that no challenge, however overwhelming, could break their spirit. In orbit, Captain Lila Torres and her squadron watched the last alien ship's retreat. They had piloted through chaos, taken risks that defied logic, and turned every threat into an opportunity. The human fleet, though smaller and less technologically advanced, had proven smarter, faster, and infinitely more unpredictable. Torres transmitted a single message back to Earth. They underestimated us. They won't make that mistake again. World leaders convened virtually for the first post-invasion council. The war had reshaped humanity, not just militarily, but socially and politically. Nations that had once bickered over borders and resources now understood the value of unity. The global alliance, forged in fire, would remain as a safeguard against future threats. "We have survived because we acted as one species," declared Admiral Li Wei. Let this victory remind the galaxy, Earth is not a planet to be conquered. Scientists and engineers turned their attention to the remnants of alien technology. Ships and drones, once instruments of destruction, became tools for learning and advancement. Humanity's ingenuity, already proven in battle, now promised to propel civilization into an era of unprecedented growth. From hybrid propulsion systems to adaptive AI, every fragment of alien tech offered a glimpse into possibilities that had once been science fiction. Across continents, civilians who had fought in their own ways, hacking networks, building defenses, guiding soldiers, were celebrated as heroes. The war had revealed that the strength of humanity did not reside in machines or weapons alone, but in the creativity, courage, and resilience of every individual. Ordinary people had made extraordinary contributions, proving that the spirit of a species cannot be measured solely by its technology. The aliens, scarred and humiliated, retreated into deep space, carrying a lesson they would not soon forget. Earth had defended itself not with invincibility, but with cleverness, determination, and unity. The planet had sent a clear message to the stars. Humanity was not to be trifled with. Any future invader would have to contend not only with weapons, but with a species that could outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast even the most advanced adversaries. As dawn broke over a battered but unbroken Earth, the people looked to the sky with pride. Humanity had survived, adapted, and triumphed. They had faced the impossible and proven that courage, intelligence, and unity were the ultimate weapons. And somewhere in the darkness of space, the whispers began. The humans of Earth were not a species to be challenged. They were a force to be reckoned with.